here we are, the president still had to sponsor a high number of people down there. So many wonders that if indeed the government is very serious at ensuring that they work on stabilizing the nation's economy, then these huge amount of money used to sponsor these individuals to COP28 should have been, saved for the nation. So I think coming from the Catholic bishops, well, it is just to add to what people have been saying. They're also bearing their minds. It's good to show you that, yes, the Christian folks are not also very happy and they are not comfortable with this high spending of the government. And I think it is better that the sitting administration quickly adjusts themselves so that we don't have a situation at hand.
Absolutely. I understand that the Catholic bishops are speaking over the months. They've been quiet about so many things, and they've been called out by the Christian community. The economy is quite bad. It makes no sense to be quiet or play partisan. Politics with situational life of the people. If you notice anything, this is a democratic government. There's freedom of speech. So if you feel oppressed or uncomfortable about certain areas in the government and governance, it's their right to speak up, and they have not just that.
It excites me because, over the years, people complain that the religious body, they don't get involved in politics. But now, the Catholic bishops are speaking up. The Anglican might come, the Pentecostal, the Muslims, and everybody coming to say, you know what, this country must work. I'm talking about country working. Another headline says, best way to end coups in Africa. Tinubu.
Quite interesting. When I saw this,
let me say the right. Rather says it desires to make Nigerians happy.
Oh. You know what, Shego? This is laughable because they say if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. I think we have gotten to a state in this nation where we should move beyond the talks. We need to move beyond the desiring, but to move to implementation, action. What Nigerians desire to see is good governance, and not for you to tell us this is what you desire. Who cares about what your wishes are? You understand me? And so that's why I really love that saying that if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Anybody can come out and say that, just like every other family members or family, say head of the family would say that I wish my children are riding, or I'm riding my children in Rolls Royce. Talk is cheap. It's not about what you wish. It's about what you can do at the moment. You understand? And just like the Catholic bishop also said, they are also condemning this sitting administration for the fact that they are doing or they are implementing anti-people's policy. And this is not the right way to go. And now, it is laughable for me, for the president to be saying that he desires for Nigerians to be happy. Indeed, he said that at the summit at, what's it called? This summit.
COP28?
No, it's not at COP28. He said at a particular summit, and he was advocating good governance. You see, Nigerian president is advocating good governance as a way to cop a coup in West Africa. And for me, I begin to wonder, right at home, because they say charity begins at home. At home right here, a lot of Nigerians are angry. You understand? And you can even feel the mood of the people when you move around, that people are not happy. We're still talking about fuel subsidy removal. People are still battling with the high price of fuel, battling with the high price of diesel, battling with high rising cost of commodities in the markets. A lot of people are still thinking right now they don't even know how they're going to celebrate this Yuletide. And so the president came out to be telling the West African leaders to say that they have to give good governance. But right at home, do we get good governance is the big question. And so sometimes I just wonder, I ponder the kind of leaders that we have, that they do not practice what they preach. Because we have gone out there to preach a good governance. But at home right here, do we have good governance? The answer is no.
I think it was last year, sometimes last year, when President Buhari was summit to fight against terrorism. And he got to give a speech, while he was doing that, kidnappings and bombs
were going on at the same time. He said.
So it's funny how African leaders are quick to talk, like they say, talk is cheap. It's all talk and no implementation. And that's what we have seen so far in this current administration. The economy is biting hard on a lot of Nigerians. Everything seems to be happening at the same time. One singular policy, one singular move from the government around the economy completely seems to over.
Could it be that the sitting president is not totally aware of things happening in the country?
I'm sure he's aware by his popular statement. Let the poor
pray.
Breathe. Do not suffocate.
All right.
You know what? He made that statement at the 64th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. So for me, sometimes it seems like the leaders from Africa, or let me just use Nigeria. In Nigeria, it appears to me that some group of journalists that they bring on board just write a very fantastic speech for them. You understand? And they just feel, oh, this is great. So I'm going there to deliver this. Not thinking, not reflecting on their own lifestyle and judging what is on ground at home. So they just go there and just deliver a fantastic speech that does not correlate or is not in tandem with what is happening at home. So I think we have gotten to a level where even we journalists, we should stop harboring these politicians, because we have them to write very fantastic speech, but we know the situation on ground. Although some people have argued that it's about branding, that sometimes you just need to say a very good word, you need to ice the cake for the outside people to see your country as being very fantastic or doing fantastically well. But of what importance? It will last.
We don't see the advanced nations do this. They hit the nail on the head. If it's working, it is
working. If it's not working,
don't sugarcoat it.
All right. So okay, let's pick this sad story, because it looks sad. Because now, 20 days to go, ex-NNPC executive director expresses doubt over Port Harcourt refinery takeoff date, meaning it might not take off when they plan. Another one says tension in Delta community over NUPRC's 2-week deadline to Chevron and Shell. So we might have ourselves shortage in fuel. And then, so finally, let me pick on this one. Okay. Economy now. Ohaneze to partner Southeast Man, that's Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, which is very good, because so now, if this happens in the southeast of the country, we know that we can manufacture vehicles, manufacture things, which in essence we might just be manufacturing in Nigeria and be exporting to other countries in Naira. That might strengthen our currency.
Well, I think, yes, it is good news, it's a good development, but I just hope that their efforts will not be frustrated. I really don't know what our fears are as a nation, why we really don't like to encourage individuals doing something exemplary, doing something extraordinary or outstanding. I've come to realize that there's a way which frustrates the efforts of individuals doing well, especially if the government does not have a hand in it. And I think the time has come for us to see, or for us to explore every means to ensure that the nation's economy bounces back. Because the way it is, the nation's economy is already on its knees, and we appeal to the government of the day to do all they can to encourage every individual who are interested in, in constructing, in production of whatever is going to aid or help the economy to bounce back. Well, that's just my own submission.
All right, moving straight to another paper, the Nigerian Tribune. The main headline says, importers, exporters incur losses as exchange rates hike exchange rate hike bites. You find that on page 6. The writer says, review exchange rate policy, CPPE tells CBN. And so another story says, Senate committee query, NPA clarifies $852 million at this $1 billion naira levies flagged in audit report, page 28. Another story says, 16 dead, 27 injured in Kaduna Abuja expressway accident. If you utilize citizen.
Exactly.
And the question is, why is it that the level of accident increases during the usual time?
So I'm concerned because now Kaduna Abuja expressway 27th, right? 16 dead. Now Kaduna Township 120, is it 127? Now, so the rate at which people are dying in the country is so alarming. So I just hope that the presidency and everyone in authority should provide a solution to all of these things, because all of these are man-made problems.
Yes, you see, I quite sympathize with these Nigerians that have lost their lives. 16, that is no joke. And I'm talking about over 26 people, I mean, who had injuries. I mean, this is worrisome. This is hinged on bad roads because there's no two ways about it. It's just bad roads that can only lead to such accidents. Because I know that, of course, at a period like this, a lot of people are always in a rush. But the truth of the matter is, Nigerians ordinarily are always in a rush. But I believe if the infrastructure is, is well done, we have good roads, this would not happen. I have not forgotten what happened on that, what do you call that road between Delta and Benin? Ologbo. I'm trying to remember that road. You remember that before the accident, the terrible accident that happened there occurred, a lot of people have been talking, they've been filming themselves as Nigerians doing eyewitness reports, shouting to government on how bad the road is, the long hours they have to stay on road, having to travel, and all of this, came to deaf ears. Government didn't listen. But until we have hundreds of people dying on that road, the government stood up. I think we need to be proactive as a government. We need to place values on life, because this is what we've been saying on U45 Morning Show. Until the Nigerian government begins to place paramount importance on the lives of every Nigerian, then they will know the urgency, the importance of having to have good roads, because most of these roads are dead trap, and this is the resultant effect. So the appeal is just for government to quickly swing into action and ensure that we have very tolerable roads.
Absolutely, ensure we have motorable roads. And to another story, it says, tough times for Nigerians as developers increase house rent prices by 70%. Find out on page 4.
You see, this is a problem of housing. But a lot of times you've seen different governments come to power and say that low-cost housing, they do this and all of that. But the truth of the matter is, if indeed government is able to provide, a housing that is in tandem with the number of citizens, then who are the developers to say that? Because these developers are businessmen and women. We will go to bank, take loans, renovate houses that are old or houses that family members cannot come together with one voice to build, and they will come together, build it, give them 1 or 2 rooms there. They raise and make it a big, and they sign a contract between so years, maybe 10 or 5, we will be able to realize our money, and they will now hand over the house to you. So if you see the house rents now, you will know that these developers are out to kill. And you won't blame them. Look at the economy of the country. They also have interest to pay on the loans that they have taken from the banks. So how can government stop them? Who can stop them? You can stop them. There's no regulation to house rents in this part of the world.
I want to comment on this. You see, now I think the person that did the best job concerning low-cost housing
in Lagos, anyway.
Lagos State is still the late
Jakonde. Exactly.
The low-cost housing actually went for the people within that range, but the ones they've been doing, the likes of Fashola, they were not
for
monitored.
The elite.
Yes, it's not monitored, so it's still the elite that went there,
yes,
collected or bought the house and start renting it out to the common man. You understand? Now you go to a place. There was a period in Lagos where they said house rent should not exceed 1 year.
But that's not the case now.
Yes, 1 year, and then one landlord or one caretaker would just say, or developer say, look, is it government that built the house?
As to detect the tune.
That means this act, these laws do not bind. Because if it is binding, people will definitely abide by it. So I just hope.
You know what? In this part of the world, I've always seen many of people as pretenders. Do you understand? We make laws that even we ourselves, we don't look at how workable these laws are. You know, we just sit at the confines of our homes or of our offices and decide this is it, no landlord should do this and all of that. Do you know the pressure that people face in having to rent houses? And then I will now be telling the landlord, no, what the government says is this is the law. The law says, especially we journalists.
Somebody has said,
what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Somebody else has paid. And it will shock you to know that he might just be an illiterate. An illiterate selling maybe whatever pepper or something that will come and put and even pay 5 years rent. Do you understand? Not thanks to the Igbos. They will come there and also renovate the house.
The last place I stayed. So for like 1 year.
Okay.
Then so paid for 1 year. Later I called. He said no, 1.5 years. I said listen, the government said 1 year. He said, Oga, you pay or you no pay. I said, all right, no problem. So I paid the half. Yeah. Okay. House got completed. Okay, everybody's moving in. Sir, how far? The keys to the. He said, no, it has to be 2 years. So I have to pay another. As I'm like, it is 1 year. You said 1.5. He said, look, Oga, the person beside the place you took, that flat.
He's ready to rent the other one.
No, pay 3 years. Pay 3 years. So if you're not ready, someone is making inquiries for this.
Honestly, it's not until when you go for running competition or just getting houses in Lagos. It's a competition, and that's the truth. And that's why government will not say this is what should. Is it government that builds the house for that? Like, excuse me, did you build the house? You don't even know how the person is able to build his or our own house.
I know there's no builders bank.
Okay.
There's a builders bank.
Maybe that loan would have worked.
Yes, everybody goes there to get loan to build. Yeah. So now, as you're getting loan, they will tell you.
These are the rules. But government has nothing. You have practically nothing to add to people's sweat having to build their house, and then you're saying this is so. These are part of the laws, and they are saying that we need to look at them. How realistic are some of these our laws before we start saying promulgating?
Yeah, it's not that we don't have laws. Actually, the issues is that
implementation.
The laws that we have. All right. Because of time, finally on the Nigerian Tribune, it said cash crisis hits, anger spreads. The writer says POS operators hike commission. Another writer says there is sufficient stock for economic activities. That's according to CBN. You see what we're saying?
POS operators hike commission. Says there is sufficient stock for economic. Now CBN assures. Oh my goodness! Like Nigeria, sometimes for some analysts that have come here and say that the country is a joke, I think they should be given kudos. I mean, they should be, in fact, they should be given awards for this statement, because it's just the truth. You know, the same way we will say that we don't have fuel in our gas stations, and then NPC come out and allay the fears of Nigerians. Milky Harris says, no reason to panic, Nigerians. Calm down. This fuel. And for me, it's as if I'm seeing the bank saying, I'm Skibanch, my friend calls. Oh my goodness. This is laughable, honestly.
From the government. They are supposed to down tension,
right,
by saying otherwise. They're not supposed to cry also and say, we too, we don't know.
Okay.
But when you doubt the tension,
it's about
the people that ought to go get the cash and keep at home so they can do buying and selling, because some people, it is cash based. There's no transfer, just that it's cash based. So they need this cash to actually do their transactions. And then you say there's no panic, no cause for alarm, and at the end of the day, they can't access this cash. What happens? So I feel it is the politicians that should not be given this 150 million naira cash. For what?
No. Do you remember that I was amazed when Olusegun Okwade was analyzing the reasons for which we keep having recurrence of this very situation. He said that it is still your politicians that shows the blame, because during festive period, they have a lot of people they want to give money to, and so this cash is what they rely on, and they tell the bank managers to bring the money to them.
Example, what happened at Ogun State?
Yes, exactly. And was it not on their way that they shot the director? So what am I trying to say? I wonder why we always have this situation all the time. So for me, it shows to me that we have a crop of people who are not forward looking. We have a crop of people who are not planning ahead. And until you begin to plan ahead, you will keep merry-go-rounding the same circle. And that's the situation of Nigeria. Don't be surprised by January. I've said it. We will wake up to hear that fuel price, the pump price of fuel has been increased. You will hear that gas has also, the price has skyrocketed. And everybody will now be, you see, on the first day, the road is going to be very dry to look like a ghost town. You know, one can easily predict Nigeria's situation. It's like when you watch African Magic, Yoruba, watching African Magic, Yoruba, or even Igbo, you already know where they, do you understand? And this should not be so. So if it takes us learning from developed other climes, how they're doing it and they're succeeding, let us do such, so that the end result will be achieved for us to lift our country beyond the level we are.
True. Now, one thing that breaks my heart when it comes to issues like this is that Nigerians are very self-centered people. You see, Nigerians are quick to lash in and take advantage of their brother or their sister. I mean, we are all of this is a fight. We're in this together. You need to usurp the opportunity and crown your neighbor. You know, the issue of cash, like it was said here, they said POS operators hike commission. To what end?
Okay, you know what? You sounded like a pastor this morning, but it's understandable because you went to church yesterday. So I'm sure what the pastor preached is still working in you. Let me tell you, I'm not surprised. Did you understand? You say that an average Nigerian is selfish. Is the federal government not selfish? Do you understand? What do you gain as being the citizen of Nigeria? After all, the federal government prides itself with human capital of the nation. But how much of contribution does the federal government have in its human capital? Do you understand? As a citizen, there's nothing to gain. There's no stipend given to you. Do you understand? And that's why they say that Nigeria is highly rated in having a high number of people with depression. At least you can remember that report. It is not far-fetched. It is just because, see, the government is a mirror to the people. Do you understand? So if you do things that does not show that you have the interests of people at heart, it is only natural that individuals will begin to apply the same routes. They will also want to say, I don't care. After all, what's your government? What does the government, what do they do for me? It is a matter of survival of the fittest, and that's what's happening.
Now, the people in power today, they are also citizens.
Okay.
So the mindset was already built. That selfish mindset, egocentric, self-centered, selfish, individualistic mentality has already been implemented in them. So when they come into power, it's already there. They're always thinking of themselves, thinking of their families, and they're not concerned about the plight of Nigerians. It is the Nigerians that are citizens today that will become governments tomorrow.
Yes, now.
So the vicious circle continues. So if we don't start working on our mindset as citizens, when we get into power, that mindset that we have already built as followers, when we become leaders, we'll just go there.
Let me remind you, I hope you've not forgotten about the Minister of Information, the late Dora Akunyili, that came out saying she was working assiduously to ensure that Nigeria is a good brand to identify with. Good people, good nation. Good people, good nation. Please, do you know what eventually ended that woman's life? She was shot by the same people in our country, Nigeria. And then you want somebody to be so patriotic about the nation when they are seeing people that have been so patriotic about this nation, and at the end of it, they lost their lives just like that. So it's difficult to. It
wasn't the poor man on the streets that shot Dora Akunyili.
That's what
it's probably the government. Some powers that be, some cabals that felt that, okay, this woman is...
She's stepping on their toes. She's not allowing, maybe their businesses somehow to thrive.
My question is, it is the poor man that pulled the trigger.
Of course, a poor man that has been brainwashed.
Brainwashed based on hunger that the politicians have subjected them to. See, we need to separate those things. We need to get it well. How did we get to where we are as a Nigeria? How we got to where we are as Nigeria is that some crop of leaders chose to unleash high level of poverty on the people. They subjected to the people to poverty in such a way that people can no longer breathe. And it has now become a competition where anybody is even ready to kill the other to ensure that he or she is at
so how do we fix it?
Sorry, now it is political. It is political. They made sure that they weaponized poverty. So if they are poor, for instance, you go to one junction, one bus stop, and you see one guy, and you say, guy, Alpha, see that other guy there? It's been so rude to me. And take 1,000.
Do you understand? Do you
understand? So that's how the cycle works.
It trickles.
It has to, for it to work in Nigeria now. Look, these guys, our generation, we are old already.
We have to fade away.
We are old. Now the younger generations, that is where the overhauling will need to start from.
For me, on a way forward on how to fix Nigeria, I think there's need for our politicians to be sincere with themselves, because that's to start with the powers that be. Until the powers that be have the political will to develop Nigeria, indeed, then we have not started. Because there's no way. They are the determinant of what is being taught in schools. They are the determinant of how, in fact, what are we even talking about? The president is always the one that steers the ship of the country. Do you understand me? Or plus his cabinet. So it has to be that the individual at the helm of affairs is indeed ready to build Nigeria. If not, it's pretty difficult, because it has to start from primary school, where we begin to inculcate the right values in children, where we begin to discourage them from cyber crimes. Because the way it is, you can't imagine the level Nigeria is when it comes to cyber crime. It has really dented our image, and when you look at it, even the politicians too, some of them have their hands soiled in corruption.
Yeah. I totally agree, because the other day the aide to Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun was arrested for fraud and all of this. So if people in political positions, political offices are doing this, how about the masses, the common man? You know, most times you see parents praising their children who are into cyber crimes. Why? Because they are bringing money home.
In fact, I read somewhere that there's Yahoo Boys as Mothers Association in those states.
Right, that's the still news. That's the still news.
Boys Mothers Association.
It is still news. They even choose Ashwebi to celebrate their day. So this is where we are as a nation.
We need to vote people with
integrity. That's just it. That's just where to start.
How are we sure that our votes will count? Nikki, let's move on.
All right, moving on, still staying with newspaper review. Right now, we are staying with the Punch newspaper. And the headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper, the major reads, Diesel Jet A1 hit markets January. Petrol delayed. You'll find a story on page, beg your pardon, page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And the rider reads, piecemeal crude oil supply delays PMS to others. Marketers welcome aviation fuel, diesel production. Another rider reads, Africa's largest refinery expects supply of 5 million barrels of crude beginning from late January. I just hope that this will be a reality. I mean, it's not just for the papers and for the excitement of Nigerians or readers, so to say. And atop the Punch newspaper, the front page headline reads, external reserves fall by $520 million in 5 weeks. This is attributed to the Central Bank of Nigeria. For more on that story, please get the Punch newspaper. The story is precisely on page 31. And following that directly, another headline there reads, Nigeria's revenue not enough to support development, says IMF. That story is on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. And following that story directly, it reads, PFAs make 8 trillion naira profits from pension investment. You'll find that story on page 36. Well, for more, let's just get the Punch newspaper. Announced this day with the Punch newspaper. The front page headline here reads, a federal government to spend 837 billion naira on 2,254 roads, bridges. That story is on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. And this one, exciting. Akeredolu, Assembly won't probe signature forgery allegations, say lawmakers. You find that story on page 44. Shegun, this is what we are talking about. So talking about how to fix Nigeria, how to move Nigeria beyond the level it is right now. This is another one. Assembly won't probe signature forgery allegation. This is according to lawmakers in Ondo State.
Signature forgery is a crime.
Okay.
But then, so earlier this was it last month that we were told that if your certificate is not looking like what you want, you can print another one. You understand? We were told that. So that means if you can do that, that means Nick, for example, your certificate, you did not like it, you can print another one and make sure it's A1, first class. You understand? We've been told that. So if that is the case, then I don't think
what's the big deal about certificate forgery? You see, so this is what we talk about when the leaders themselves are not epitome of excellence. These are people that should be they don't practice what they preach. They're supposed to be a mirror to a future generation, but unfortunately they appear to be the bad eggs, you understand? And so what can they say if I'm trying to remember that Bible verse that says,
if the foundation be destroyed,
what can the righteous do? So if the leaders can portray themselves as men of no integrity or low integrity, what can the citizens, the ordinary citizens do? Absolutely. And why would you want to blame the admirers, the illiterates, and or what have you? It's unfortunate.
The hallmark of leadership is integrity, and unfortunately, that quality is not known. It's not in the DNA of leaders in Africa.
Like that.
They don't care about their integrity. Now, in the advanced
all
countries,
that matters is power.
A leader is being investigated or even being alleged.
You step aside.
The first thing they do is to step aside. That my name is being mentioned for this is a dent already on my image, and they step aside.
Let me give them room
to investigate
me.
But here, we will sit down very well.
Yo, you got.
And then we will start.
They will use a fostic gum to gum your butts to the chair.
You know, the problem with
You dare not.
with the African political scene is that we have used shame as body cream. So they've applied it on their body, so they're shameless. There is nothing you say. I mean, oh,
what does it matter?
Don't worry, we'll pay some influencers and they will die down the matter and all of that. Imagine a president who is paralyzed, still sitting in the position of what can you do in that state? Nothing but power. Nigerians, not Nigerians, Africans.
Africans are power drunk.
Power drunk.
It's unfortunate. So let's move to another paper right now. The Guardian newspaper, the major headline on the Guardian newspaper reads, 6 months on, Tinubu's net worth unknown. CSOs kick.
You cannot know.
6 months on, and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's net worth is still unknown.
Yeah,
and we talk about asset declaration.
Yeah, I believe, you know, from his statement, he said once he assumed office, he's going to hit the ground running. So, I mean, immediately he did just that. So there is no time to come and be declaring, you understand? So
the activities are too much, you know, too many.
COP28
and all of these. So how do you expect the president to, you know, now talk about the I mean, let's use our head to know what the net worth will be.
Yes, just use your head. Calculate the alpha, beta, and then the what do you call it, the Lekito. Just calculate everything. If you want to know, calculate.
You see, don't be surprised that even the civil society organizations are also calling, because most likely, you know, their palm has not been scratched. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying the way it is. And so when they call this out, will hit this December period. My goodness, oh, Julita season. Oh, how much a lot of people want to celebrate. And now they remember that it is 6 months on. Our president is yet to let us know his net worth.
But my question,
corruption.
Sorry, Nike. My question now is, okay, so he declares his asset when the moment he assumes office, he declares his asset, no problem. So when he is leaving the same office, is he going to declare asset? Because
no, that's how it's supposed to be. He's supposed to declare going and leaving.
So they might declare going, but going out.
He is not the first president who has refused to declare his asset. Obasanjo did it. If you really look at it right, there's Olusegun Obasanjo's assets in 1999 and 2007
are unknown. Eredua declared asset valued at
Buhari finally declared.
I think Eredua is a very unique individual. You know, a lot of people even said it. I mean, during his tenure as president, he was very open. And I remember, I think it was during his tenure that amnesty was also given. You know, I mean, sincerely, you know. So, and if you also look at the second picture, reads Buhari declared less than 30 million naira in his bank accounts. Breakdown shows he has $150,000, 2 mud houses, livestock, orchard, and a plot of land. But when he was leaving, we are yet to know. They said Goodluck Jonathan's asset kept secret. So our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not going to be
on course. Exactly.
So what are we talking about? Please let the sleeping dog lie. I mean, this
before you went to this story, Nicky, we were talking about integrity issues.
Oh, yes.
An African leader. And we can see it being on display right here. African leaders have integrity issues, and you expect your followers to have integrity? It's not possible.
Okay. Absolutely. And still staying with the Guardian newspaper, another headline here reads, ECOWAS team negotiates with Niger on return to civil rule. That story for more, please, you'll get it on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And moving on, another headline Beside this, it's time to reorganize and adopt state policing. Of course, that is the editorial on page 12 of the Guardian newspaper. Another one reads, 109 senators donate December pay to Tudunbiri drone victims. Okay. Well, this
That's
makes a lot of
yes.
sense.
Yes, that's
It's a good one for the lawmakers. At least this shows that they are sensitive to an extent to the plight of these ones that lost the lives of their families. You remember the accidental bombing of Tudunbiri in Kaduna State. I mean, the senators have now donated for them, of course, for this December period. They gave them December pay, and I think that is commendable. At least is a good way to start. Another headline, staying with the Guardian newspaper, reads, Nigeria lost over 15 multinationals in 3 years. That story is on page 3. This is worrisome, disturbing.
This is heart-wrenching. You know, we're talking about the rate of
15
and unemployment. We're talking about the rate of hike in food products and other household items, and the reasons are not far-fetched.
insecurity.
When companies are leaving Nigeria, the few ones they are struggling. We have tax rebate issues. You know, I read a story on the what's it called, P&G.
Yeah.
It's a very, I wish I could read that story on air now, but it's a bit lengthy, so we don't have that time.
Right.
It was one of their staff, a former staff of P&G, wrote how
Regrets.
they grounded P&G.
You mean
So,
on the part of who?
On part of the workers.
Oh my goodness.
We're not talking about the part of the government now, on the part of the
They
workers.
must have been short-changing.
Do you understand? How
Sharp
they were
practices.
stealing. You know, it's a very sad story, really sad, and the reasons are not far. But Nigerians have integrity issues. Everybody wants to extort the next person. How do I get
And
this?
that's why
I like
businesses
what
are
Chego is
also.
wearing. Rather than ask him, where did you make it? Who was your designer? I'll look for how I can take it from him. Steal from him, and he will no longer have it, and then I will have it.
And you, because of him, travel to Aba, you go and use it for the Christmas.
That's just it. That's the problem.
Oh my goodness! This actually,
Nigeria.
Solomon, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge, and it all starts from our families. It trickles down, because even the public officers that we talk about today, they all emanated. They all came from different families, homes in Nigeria. And so I will just appeal to parents. We need to sit up as parents. We need to train our children rightly. We need to inculcate the right values in them, because at the stance in Nigeria, it appears that our values are already eroding us, and so we need to bring them back. We need to bring them back for us to build a better nation.
And then, sorry, Nicky, talking about 15 multinationals living in 3 years. You remember from the newspapers reading, the one we read not too long, in Delta State, Chevron and Shell being given 2 weeks deadline. So what happens if they do not meet up with the deadline? They will be asked to evacuate Niger Delta. Now, if they leave Delta, there's nowhere to go to get.
And there'll be job lost again.
Understand? So I think government needs to really come on board and see that things are properly done in the country.
To the advantage of businesses anyways. And now more on the Guardian newspaper front page headline reads, disclose how much oil Nigeria produces. Disclose how much oil Nigeria produces. Exports, Serap tells NNPC. That story is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. I mean, this
NNPC.
is what NNPC, in fact, they're in the eye of the storm, as it were, right now, because a lot of people are already calling them out. You remember, I even said this just last week. I was saying that there is really need for them to investigate and probe NNPC. Do you understand? Because I don't know the reason for which. I mean, they are even the determinant of the price of fuel. You come and tell us this. They made you NNPC. I said, to what advantage? it appears that now that their NNPC is to the disadvantage of the citizens of Nigeria. So what are they even doing? I don't get it. Now, I'm even sure, based on all of these people calling out the NNPC, because they appeared before the Senate last week, and of course, Kole Mayari was saying that they discovered about 4,800 pipelines, oil pipelines, you know, illegally connected. Do you understand?
About 4,000 plus.
4,800
illegally
connected.
That is something that a layman, somebody around the corner, should say, and would be like, shut up, we don't say that. That is what the MD of NNPC is telling us. 4,000.
You know what I even see in this is that they are seeing a way to shield themselves from this corruption. This corruption that we're saying is embedded in the NNPC. He is now saying that that is why he's saying it is wrong to use outsiders to protect the nation's oil pipeline. You know, I'm thinking it is to an extent trying to cast aspersion on the likes of what's this, the name of this guy that is given the contract to protect the pipelines, the oil pipelines. Tompolo. You know,
Tompolo an outsider.
Tompolo. That's why he says that most likely it is the likes of the Tompolo that are giving rights to individuals who are illegally connecting.
But now I think from what he just said. That figure is so high, and you cannot do that, and the Nigerian Navy will not be aware of it.
I don't get it.
So the chief of naval staff should be called.
I'm telling you, they should all be probed.
Yes, everybody, because it is the navals that have been the one.
Even the NSCDC.
So bring these people on board, and then for questioning.
They won't want to bring them because you'll be shocked that the powers that be, their names will be mentioned. So, but I would say that we should dare them. We should challenge the NNPCL to probe all of these individuals. I mean, all of these agencies that are supposed to protect our oil pipeline. Kele Mayari should not think, you are not talking to babies. You have a mandate. You've been given. You've been given what to do. You can't be coming to tell us now that what's his name, that Sanusi is coming out to still say that he will continue to say it again and again till he loses his breath. That NNPC is corrupt. They should come out and tell us the number of barrels Nigeria produced per day. Nobody can give account of that. So why are you there? Somebody should be prosecuted. If not, I don't know where we are going as a nation.
Well, the good news, sorry, the not so good news is that.
Okay, thank you
Nothing
for bringing us back home to the good news.
Nothing will be done.
Was that the good news?
Not so good news.
Oh my goodness. Solomon.
Because it takes the government to steal oil.
Yes.
It takes the government.
Yes,
to
I
steal.
totally agree.
That's what he's saying. Of course.
I totally agree. Because now Tompolo is there in the Niger Delta, and nobody dares confront Tompolo that I want to illegally in Niger Delta.
Even if Tompolo gives a right to anybody, it means it has a hand of government. Yes. It must be that they have their own individuals that they are trying to also, they equip one way or the other, so they're also making money. So let him be investigated. Let them bring him on national TV, and we don't want to hear off the mic.
Yes,
because the time has come. We don't want to hear off the mic. Let the person be talking. Let it be broadcast live, and let's also bring Sanusi to be questioning them. Do you understand? It should not just be the security agencies or the lawmakers that will question these people.
Okay, off your mic. Let's move.
Oh, all right, okay. So let me off the mic there and move on. All right, I'm still staying with the Guardian newspaper. Another headline here reads, FG secures 100 electric buses from Oando. For more details, you'll find a story on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Gentlemen, is this a very good news? Suitable? FG secures 100 electric buses from Oando.
It's not a good news. Where are they going to charge it?
Where are they going to charge it? Because we have a challenge with our power.
We don't have charging points. Because now for that, on that 3rd mainland bridge, you should have one at the beginning, have one at the end. You
So a
understand?
lot of people will be stranded. It might be a dangerous bus
No,
to
what
board.
what if it's solar powered? What if it uses green energy?
Green energy.
It doesn't have to, you don't have to use electricity, provided there's sunlight
Oh,
or
well,
daylight.
it's possible, but they say electric. Said
Not
LG
solar
secures
powered.
100 electric buses. So even it's solar, I think they should have
Like solar
indicated
powered.
that. So this is strictly electric.
Wow.
And so please, if we have electric buses, our government, please do not let us be stranded on Third Milan Bridge.
You know, your
We
normal
have electric train in Lagos State,
Okay.
and we've never had such issues. So I
Yeah.
think there's a way they manipulate this.
now the electric train in Lagos State is maybe one or two, because it is government owned, right? Just one or two. So
Must
one
have
might
been
be there,
planted.
yes, charge it. They know for how long,
It's going to
and then
last.
they know the locations it's going to go. Okay, move from here to here, from this point to this point, and then it is their rail track. That is where the charging port will be. But for the buses, we should see the charge, because if I'm using an electric car, I cannot charge it.
Are you sure you will not go and
Oh
charge
my
your phone?
goodness.
By
oh
the
my
time they
goodness.
put
You know the
Points
The,
for charging
no, the
that.
watts will be very high. You can't plug your phone.
They will even steal the cords, my brother. In this country, my country. Oh my goodness! It's like you don't even know my country. You don't know my
We're
country.
responsible
Good people,
We are
great nation.
Good people, great nation.
Yes, so
okay.
please, let
Even
the
the
government
even
do
the
that.
orchestrator is nowhere to be found. But God helps us as a nation. So, Shagun, let's move to the next newspaper.
All right, moving on to the next newspaper. I go to Daily Independent. This one says CBN considers 500 billion naira in new recapitalization plan for banks. 500 billion naira. The previous one was 100 billion naira. Now it's 500 billion naira. So that means we might be having more banks merging this time around and some folding up. So how do people access their funds when these so-called banks folds up? That's my
I
challenge.
think what has happened recently has not really been folding up per se. It's more of acquisition. So a bank comes and buy over
Another.
yeah. So they're able to or mergers. They come together and they form a strong bond.
Because if it's merger, it's easier. So Access Diamond, it's easier. Same account number, same thing. You understand? But in the that of acquisition, like Intercontinental Bank and Access back then, now everybody will have to go and queue because you need to tell us your account details. This one. So now it's another stressful journey. It's going to be another stressful journey. So I just hope that there will be a way to do this that it will not really stress the citizens.
I don't know. I've heard it from multiple sources that they are trying to have a banking system in Africa. I'm sure maybe they want to start from Nigeria. One banking system, one strong bank attending to everybody.
That's not what I want. I want a one currency country, continent. So we have one currency, the whole of Africa. So we know that even if I'm going to Gabon from Lagos, I don't have to change my money. I don't have to change my naira. It's the same money I'll take to Gabon. From there, if I'm going to Senegal, I use the same money. You understand? And that is the same thing that this late president of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, was trying to achieve, but his effort was frustrated. His effort was frustrated. He tried so much for Nigeria, because it was like his problem is Nigeria and South Africa, claiming giants of Africa, and he's telling them, look, this thing is beyond everyone. It's beyond South Africa, it's beyond Nigeria, it's beyond even Libya. And then Libya, as at then, was the best country in the continent of Africa. You understand? And then he tried for that, a Pan-African, a one African currency. I mean, the Europeans have it. So why can't Africans have it? I mean, it's just easy. It's for easy movement and easy business transaction. but hopefully we'll get there, and then one day Nigeria will be great again.
Hopefully.
Moving on from that, this headline says good governance key to ending coups, says Tinubu. And then the writer says 6 transition plan for Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso and Guinea. Now these countries have been taken over by military, right? So they have military rulers now in Niger, in Mali, in Burkina Faso and in Guinea. They have military rulers, and that of Niger is saying democracy. We've had the support of Western world for so long. There is no impact, nothing to show for it, nothing to write home about. So let us try to help ourselves and see what happens in the next 10 years. And I'm just hoping that in the next 10 years or on or before 10 years, civilian rule will come back, and then everything will go smoothly. I just hope so.
Yeah.
And then moving on, another headline says senators donate 1 month salary to Kaduna bomb victims. That you find that on page 7. We already discussed it before,
exactly.
And kudos to them.
Senators.
It's a good deed. Another one say freeing Kanu is in keeping with rule of law. Huriwa tells Supreme Court. Freeing Kanu is in keeping with rule of law. Huriwa tells Supreme Court. If you want to read more on that, just go to page 6. And then on page 6, still stay with page 6, poverty, greatest threat to democracy. Dogara. Yes, I agree. Poverty is greatest, but then corruption, is a greater.
Yes, truly.
And ignorance is the
He's the greatest of all.
He's your of them.
He's your guy at the top. But you know what? Really, we need to. We should find a way to tackle poverty. It's really growing in Nigeria, and it's totally unacceptable.
If you settle corruption, poverty
will naturally die.
Natural death. Because it is with corruption. Now, NNPC cannot account for the
barrels of oil produced.
So now that means they are not telling us how much dollars is made on a daily basis. Now, meaning if there's no money coming in from that side, how do we channel it into other parts of the economy? How will it grow?
Fight poverty.
So they need to, in fact, maybe we just say for poverty to die, we need to probe NNPC. Because the billions, the trillions of dollars that is coming in.
We really need to pry our eyes into the downstream and upstream sector, because there can be a better time to do that. I'm sure if we can really investigate them, there can be a thorough investigation of the NNPC. It will amaze you. You'll be shocked how Nigeria's economy is going to boom. Because a lot of money is being stolen via these very areas.
Again, I make bold to say that it will not be done, because a lot of leaders will be indicted.
And a lot of people are milking Nigeria through that.
So a lot of people will go down and they would not want to dare. That is it. So the people who are going to implement this would not want to make that type of law, because they know that they will get stained in the dirt.
I know so many people.
A lot of people be exposed.
Yeah. So many people getting oil blocks.
Exactly. And if we don't do
Nigeria Delta,
it's a sign that this government is not ready to fix Nigeria. They are
but do you know what? I think I want to also I want to support the view of Solomon. You know why? At a point in time, we had a president that a lot of people felt he was the Messiah. Which president am I talking about? I'm talking about former President Muhammadu Buhari when he came on board. A lot of people feel that since he said the pillars in which he will be riding on will be fighting corruption, security, and the economy, boosting the economy. But do you know that eventually we can't really say that the former president succeeded in waging war against corruption? He couldn't, and it was because of how he served when he was the military head of state in 1984. Yes, I'm right. 1984, how he dealt with a lot of how he dealt with corruption issue, and we all thought that this time Buhari has come, he's going to do it again. But unfortunately, he couldn't do it as a democratic government or president, and so it's going to be pretty difficult. It appears that what we need to do right now, really, maybe just like a guest suggested here, that the way to go might just be a military rule. Because it's gradually looking like the democratically elected officials are just siphoning money, embezzling money, and just subjecting Nigerians or Nigeria to more poverty. I mean, it's just about they themselves. So, because I really don't know how we should go, but I think what Solomon has said at the end of it all, it will just be shout, and all of this is going to be swept under the carpet, and we will not get to the root of the matter. We won't be able to produce one person. Nobody will be prosecuted for the high level of corruption going on with the NNPC.
Shegun, before you continue, isn't it erroneous that a government that has come or that came to fight corruption, that boasted that they will fight corruption? Remember what Nuhu Ribadu said about the administration. He said Buhari's administration bankrupted Nigeria, that they are still paying debts.
And that's the person who came to say that he wants to fight corruption.
You remember he said, after he left, he said he did not know, but later he has found out that his administration was sabotaged.
He said
his administration was sabotaged. He said it himself. So we don't want Tinubu to come out later to come and say it's sabotage. Please look inward now, sir. That is still there.
Especially because a lot of people will believe in him. Yes. We know he has the balls. We know Tinubu is confident enough. I mean, the president was confident enough to come out and say subsidy has been removed. We want him to use that same energy to ensure that he fights the cabals at the Aso Rock and ensure that he takes Nigeria out of this poverty level that we are. Because so much is given, much is expected. A lot of people and some people don't even believe in him. So he needs to disappoint those who fail to believe in him.
I just hope that he'll come, he'll just save Nigeria. Nigeria needs a savior right about now. Finally, ECOWAS to deploy standby force to tackle terrorism in West Africa. And then the writer says most easing of sanctions against Niger Republic. Anyway, terrorism will be a thing of the past very soon.
I hope so, and I can't wait for terrorism to be a thing of the past. All right, viewers, this is all we will take on this paper review, and right now we are going into our hashtags and trends. I'm sure this is the time many of you are waiting for. Me, what can no play makes Jack a dull boy, and of course Jill a dull girl. So Shego, what's happening?
All right. Okay. Let's go on a commercial. Right? Well, we'll come back because now this one you have to sit back first and then
fasten your belts,
digest it. Yes.
All right, viewers.
Be able to digest it.
All right, viewers. Right about now, let's quickly take a short break. And as we're taking a break for a breather, you also get your water on your table because we're gonna give you something that you need to chew, and you need to digest all of this. So, join us again. school of thought believe the major challenges confronting Nigeria as a nation is caused by poor leadership. How true is this? You and I can actually put government into tools to deliver the dividends of democracy. Join us every Saturday by 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Let us look at the issues confronting us as a nation. Together we talk heads. Nigeria can be great again. I'm Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. Keep it date.
What up, guys? How's your day going on?
Well, it's so glad to have you back, and you're still watching U45 Morning Show. Yes, I told you earlier that you should get water, because what you are about to hear, you might just need time to really digest it, and that's why you need the water. So, Shegun, I can't wait to hear what is going on in entertainment.
All right, so first off, let's start with Daddy Adeboye. That's
Daddy
the
Adeboye.
General Overseer of
Daddy Adeboye.
Yes, the Redeemed Christian Church of God. That's Pastor
The GO.
Enoch Adeboye is the General Overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God. So he said, so I'm just going to quote him. He said, he will die on a Sunday, right, after a good meal of pounded yam. You know, he's from that region. And then what it means is that, you know, some people pray for, for me to, when I get old, that's the kind of death I want. Sleep.
To eat it, to die after eating pounded yam.
No, my own is not. My own is to sleep. You understand? That's what some
and
people
transcend.
Exactly. So he said he would die after. It has to be on a Sunday, meaning he will have done his preaching and everything, and then return back home. Good meal, pounded yam, and then after that, the Lord can now do that which is needed, and then away from that.
Shegun, before you move, he's not making a wish. It is,
No, that's
like a prophecy.
That's
exactly
what
it's
going to happen to him.
Exactly. So that I just wanted us to establish that it's coming more like the revelation that he has had concerning his own death.
Okay,
He's trying to say that I have seen how I am
going to die.
Yes.
No, he has seen how he is going to die.
Okay,
I'm not sure you have seen how you are going to die. Solomon.
Have you?
Yes.
The only thing I have seen is I have seen the Lord's goodness, His mercies, and compassion.
Why are we afraid of death?
All right. Why are we afraid of death?
Yeah, why?
Oh,
No,
really?
is it death
You mean you
that
are not
everybody must
afraid
pay?
of death?
Death.
You are not
Is it-
afraid of death.
Death is a
It's
death.
a death.
Exactly.
You must
So
pay.
I'm not afraid.
Death is a death.
Everybody
So,
must
and
pay.
you are not afraid of being a debtor, right?
We are all.
In
We are all.
that sense,
We are all
I don't
debtors.
think, because there's nothing you can do about it. You have to pay.
Okay.
You cannot.
The only prayer is.
So you mean if you're driving now and
no,
one
no,
Lord
when-
is coming
no,
to
when
you,
it-
you
when
say,
it-
"Oh, I'm not
That's
afraid
not
of
how I'm
death, so
going
let
to
me
die.
go."
when
That's
the
not
time
how I'm
Oh
is
my
right.
goodness.
You understand?
When the time is right. Me too, I'm not afraid of death when the time is right. And now you're talking, guys.
You know, but I think the lesson here is that this man has walked with God closely.
Yes, exactly.
And he has had some insight into how his
He's
end,
gonna pass
his,
on.
you know, his exit from this world will be like. And I think that's amazing. You know,
Yeah, well-
if everyone can take a sneak peek into how they are going to exit this world, I think we will start living a better life.
Well, for me, this doesn't come as a surprise. Coming from Daddy Gio, I mean, he's been saying a lot before now. There's been a lot of revelations, even before he became the Gio. Even when pastors are fighting, some people are even working behind to ensure they removed him. Have you forgotten that he was the same man that came out to say that some pastors are charming themselves to ensure that they took over from him? I think they even tried to poison his food. I'm trying to remember that story. So I think this is just goes to is an addition to all of the revelations that he's been saying. And so what we will do now is to watch and see if this revelation truly comes to pass. And for me, it's also telling you that this is a man of God that knows that the end might be coming soon. You understand? Because before you begin to see this kind of revelation, and he has really worked, you know, he's worked so hard, and he's not a young man any longer. I mean, 81, you know. So you've got Tyrese, most likely his revelation will be what will eventually
he has really
happen.
moved the Redeemed Christian Church of God from where Pa Akindayomi, that's the founder
himself,
stopped to where he's taking it now. It's I mean, it's a wide gap apart. So it's
but you see, my own appeal will just be for the pastors, many of the pastors that they've raised, for them to have integrity, because there's a lot we've been hearing. Of course, even some pastors from the church who have done anomalies, you understand? We don't want to talk about it, you understand? So, and that's why when you're leading people, people will come with pretenses and all of that. You just can't determine. And for him to have gone this far, it shows that he's really working with God, you understand? But it's just that nobody can be Jesus Christ. Nobody can wash the world of his sins. Nobody can really see, you know, as he was able to see, you know, because basically that was what Jesus was brought to do. He was the Son of God and was meant to die for the sins of man. So I think I should commend him, and let's just keep our fingers crossed and see that this revelation comes to play.
Shegun, before you move on, I think I should just say this as it jumps at me. Now, he doesn't necessarily have to die like this for us to know that he's a genuine man of God. Because I know a lot of media outlets, even social media, they will say, okay, but he said it. Why did he not die the way he said it? You don't have control over death. It can happen at any time.
No, but he's saying a revelation. He's revealing to us.
It may not happen. That's my point. It may not happen the way he has
said it.
It
has to happen.
No, it doesn't have to happen because he's not in charge of his death. If he is, he would have died. He would have said, Lord, I want to go and sleep.
No, he's not saying he wants to die now. But he's saying this is what he sees, and this is how he's going to die.
Okay,
so
as
we are
one
going to
dies,
on
another one comes. So to my next story.
All right.
Now, a 70-year-old Ugandan woman gives birth to twins.
Wow.
A 70-year-old. No, Shegun, that can't be a normal delivery, or maybe it's IVF. Please, let's check that story. Let's be sure. Did she deliver those twins herself? Like, is it?
Okay.
But even with IVF, Nick,
but you still give birth.
You understand? You still have to. Something has to fertilize something.
Carry the baby.
You know, how was it done? Was she still menstruating?
I don't know.
At 70?
Honestly, science has really gone.
Miracle.
Science has really gone beyond what we see.
Yeah.
Because even from what I was at a particular conference, and they were saying that they are working already. They already have an artificial placenta, an artificial womb, and so as a man, if you don't even want to have sexual intercourse with a woman, there's an artificial womb to carry the baby for you. They just take your sperm, take another person's the same, and you can even now determine the sex you want. Even if you want triplets, even if you want quadruplets, you know, you can determine it. The way science has really gone.
Science is going far.
It's a blessing, but you pay for it. I know.
Yeah. It's very expensive. There's one now. They are trying to eradicate sickle cell. So there's a virus that they will.
That would be beautiful.
Jeez,
that would be beautiful because the man I was supposed to marry is because we're
He was a state security.
Seriously.
Off the mic. So hopefully once that comes, I mean, a lot of people. I know of a guy who the father is was a minister of defense at some point. The mother was a medical director, still in Abuja, both wealthy and rich. The guy is their last child, sickle cell. So everything he wanted, they give to him.
God, but is it still living?
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh my goodness.
They knew it was going to be around forever, for a long time. He just finished university, so they just told him, you know what, anything you want, just ask, because
my
we
goodness.
know you might not be
So
with them for so long.
painful.
It was painful.
It's so painful. And that also reminds me of my first year at the higher institution, you know, went to the Polytechnic Ibadan, that is in Erua, you know, the name in which the school was named after, Adishun Ogunjohin. He was also a sickle cell. You need to see the house this man built way back. Built his house on the rock. It's a palace on the rock. It was the sickle cell. So he died too, you know, he couldn't live forever. I think he died at the age of 30 something or 40. But we all went to that school, and his story, we were told about his story. So I don't know, I just hope that science really come up quickly with a solution to sickle cell.
The solution is here.
The solution is here, right?
It's a virus that will be, don't worry, we'll talk about
virus or a vaccine?
A vaccine.
called a virus. So they put it.
So
now it's going to,
that's huge.
they're going to inject it, and then it's going to go into the
I just
system.
hope they've really tried, as in we have people that can
Now
testify.
the problem is for it to work, we need to be sure. All right, meaning human beings will be used as well.
Specimens.
Okay, moving on. All right, so now to this one, Buju Benson, or should I say Benson, is calling all club owners. He said all club owners should
Nigeria.
come out now. Yes, he says stop selling fake drinks to your customer. You're killing us. Because I mean, now, so there's this what do you call it, restaurant. During the day, it's a restaurant. At night, it's a club. Understand? So during the day, when you go there, a bottle of cola, 500, normal price. But at night, say that same cola becomes 15,000.
Are you kidding me?
Same place. It's just the hours that differs.
Then let them go and buy it in the afternoon and keep it in their boots. That's the Nigerian sense. And the Igbo or Igboitic sense. You buy enough, you pay for it in the afternoon. You take it at night.
But you can't, if it's not
The
there.
rule.
If it's not there. If you buy it, if you don't drink it, once it's time for club, everybody pull out.
Okay.
You can't bring anything in. You have to rebuy, you understand? And then, so these things are very expensive. You see drink of 1 million.
Of course, you know.
A drink that normally outside maybe is 10,000. You go
course.
to the club, it's 150,
100,000 or
it's 200, and then you're now selling fake.
Fake again. I mean, I think this is terrible. This is condemnable, and really, I feel that perpetrators of such should be dealt with, because you cannot spend so much to buy a drink, and at the end of the day, you're giving people something that is that you're giving them fake. This is uncalled for. This is not right, and this also brings us to what we're talking about: the integrity of Nigerians. I mean, the club has a name. It will be because of the years of trust. A lot of people have come to believe in them, have come to identify with them, and they come to your club. And at the end of the day, you're selling fake drinks to them. And it will surprise you to know that Shegun, it is the staff, just like the staff rundown P&G that we're talking about now. One staff came out to give experience, or his experience of how the staffs contributed to the collapse of that of P&G. The same way with some of these clubs. And when you talk about clubs, who are the caliber of people? Who are the crop of people we have there? These are set of people that lots of criminals, and I don't know. For me,
there was a story that
yes,
a friend of mine told me one time. He works in a club then, right? So while growing up, so what they do when the club owners, the procurement officer or storekeeper, whoever is buying the drink, goes to buy the drink, they put it in the refrigerate it so that it gets cold by night. You understand? So these guys, some of these what do you call them, club boys that sells these attendance guys, they come in with their own drinks. They come in with their own drinks and then refrigerate it too. So when you order for a particular drink, if it's part of the one they brought in, they will sell that one to you.
What?
You get? So I'm pretty sure that's where the fake drink comes from, because they just go to the Lagos Island and just buy one drink on somewhere and just refrigerate it. So I mean, something you buy outside 10,000, and in the club you know it's 200,000, and you bring in and you sell like 4.
Well, I think they also have to check their suppliers, those who supply them these drinks. They also have to check their procurement officers, because a lot of times, just the same way we have said corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of Nigeria, it is everywhere, you know. So they need to check the kind of staff that they have, how truthful are they. They just need to put a check on them. Maybe the owner himself or somebody he trusts more should go after them and see where they are buying these drinks from. So I know they said there's a place in Idumota or something where, do you know, even me, I'm afraid to buy drinks now in traffic. I'm afraid to buy drinks in traffic. There's a day I bought juice and I forgot to take it that day. Maybe second week, I found out that the thing busted itself. So you can imagine if I've drank that.
There's even fake water.
Fake water. So what are we talking about?
They just sell fake water.
And there's just a carrier call also on NAFDAC. They need to do more. They need to do more. They need to go after these people so that they don't kill us. People are dying. Health problem every day. It's uncalled for.
It's back to the foundational problem that we talked about. Corruption, integrity issues, Nigerians trying to usurp themselves, trying to make extra profit unnecessarily, you know, trying to, you know, just put people down for them to go up, and it starts from the leadership.
I don't know why it's so.
It's so
selfish interest, like you said earlier.
If these guys that are involved in this come into government tomorrow,
so what's going to happen?
You understand the reason?
My imagination
your guess
is
as good as mine. You know, so that's what we're talking about.
Oh my goodness. Well,
okay, let's touch on this one. I just saw an investigation inside Abuja's kidney market, where the rich prey on the poor. So this one,
come again.
So there's a kidney market in Abuja.
It's like I didn't hear you well, but right now I think I'm hearing you well.
In Abuja, where the rich prey on the poor. So that means they harvest
organs.
And then because of the level of poverty in Nigeria, right, people tend to go willingly to go and sell.
You see the level, you see what poverty has done to this nation. Where an able man, an able woman will carry herself, go and submit yourself for your organ to be harvested. At a time where the UK is doing all the can, the international community is doing all the can to deal with organ harvesters. And then somebody will carry him or herself down to say, because he's dying of hunger, let's please come and harvest my my organ, take it out and give me money. You see, I don't know, this is the level of poverty, what poverty has done to us as a nation. The people can't even, people are now selling their organs for survival. This is...
In the Bible, when there was famine and scarcity, it was said that people were killing their children.
There's no famine. There's no famine. There's only poverty.
Well, there are somehow connections.
Something leads to famine. It's for poverty leads to famine at times. So we just hope that we don't get to that point.
Please, where's this market? Where's this market located? In Abuja.
It's in Abuja.
Where?
I know where that's where the rich.
Which adverts are asking for? Some people will go.
What? Okay, I rest my case, if that be it, because I think the hunger level has really gotten out of hand, where even if we discover where the market is now, some people, if they don't mind, they will rush from Lagos and they will go to Abuja to go and harvest their organ for money.
I only need one to function.
It's okay. Let me take one. Let me use this to take care of my family. I mean, we have Nigerians doing it abroad.
It's a mentality issue.
No, it's a poverty driven issue.
It's the mentality.
Nike, I think it's more of the mindset. the poverty. And sometimes it's not just the mindset, it's also the situation. Sometimes you have the right mindset, but the situation on ground is not right. They say emotion is stronger than knowledge. You know that this thing is not right, you know.
Oh
but
my goodness.
the situation before you. Let's move on.
You make you take a turn around. Oh my God. Oh,
all right, so this
Lord
next
help
story
us.
still boils down to poverty. Says Somadina arrested for killing his mother and sister, then he buries them in a shallow grave.
No. That one has a mental problem. That's
You know, most of
that one
these
has a
guys,
mental problem.
What if
because they want.
What if it's what this guy is trying to do?
Yes, that's another
understand?
thing. You're
Okay,
plus.
if you want to, now you're making 100,000. Everything is thousand. If you want to go into the million gang, you need to. If you want to go into,
You need to step up.
you understand?
You need to raise the bar.
And so I'm like, why? If there is no
You want to join the Pepper Dem gang.
gang,
You know what I'm saying?
You
Oh
to
my.
go and ride exotic cars. I mean, if there is no poverty in the land, people are killing, they are doing tooth and nail to make sure that they are educated. Yet there is nothing. There is no
But
job.
you know what, Seba, I don't really want to believe that it's just the poverty, the state of mind. I mean, poverty. I don't really think so, because there are lots of people also that are faced with poverty and they're not thinking of doing chance, going to Yahoo Plus and what have you. I think it all boils down to parents, how they're able to inculcate the right values in their children. What do you preach to them? How do you train your children? How much do you expose them? You understand? If we're able to, ensure that we limit our children to the confines of our house, not to know, because those days growing up, we have wisdom, words of wisdom, like remember the child of whom you are. Do you understand? These are words that help to shaping us as individuals, that we don't go overboard. You understand? In schools, it's not simple. We've gone through schools where your friends will tell you there's runs and what have you. But because you know the home you're coming from, because you're afraid of one brother of yours, you're afraid of your mother, or you ask yourself, what if I go there and I meet with my dad? What's going to happen? Do you understand? I'm amazed. I read a piece written by a former PA to maybe the Senate leader or something. I'm trying to remember, where he said that he was granting an interview on one of the national TVs, and when he was done at that hotel, he came out only for him to see young girls between the age of 18, 17 and 20. He said they went to neighboring university to bring those students, their jambites. They brought them in, well dressed, skimpily dressed, and who are they with? They were with he said they were with senators. And even I think maybe Minister of Education or the Senate Committee on Education. And he said he was like, oh, do you know what the politicians have done to us as a nation? These are human capital that we are supposed to, build their future. And here we are bringing these children, teaching them immorality, teaching them prostitution. You understand? So how do you explain that? I mean, there's a lot going on. It's a lot.
I don't know.
And he's not the first person to write this. I've heard even from some journalists that there are some politicians that all they do is just allow girls to walk naked in their home, and they give them money.
This story we're talking about, I don't know if our producer can help us with the image. I just saw a little write-up on this, and it says, according to reports, Somadina's younger sister, they said the sister and the mother. So they said the sister had died earlier because, the sister was missing.
Okay.
The sister was missing. According to reports, she had been missing for weeks. Okay. Then Sodima had an issue with his younger brother and wanted to hurt him, but their mother stopped him and asked him to leave the house. Okay. Not long after that, the mother who was said to be a hardworking woman was allegedly killed by her son, and he buried her in a shallow grave in their compound. And when the younger son returned and didn't find his mother, he raised an alarm, and villagers gathered. After interrogating Sodima, he confessed to killing his mother and sister. Now, a video making rounds shows Sodima digging out his mother's body. I think we have that picture, but it's a gory one from the shallow grave, and then she had blood coming out of her ears.
So if our producer is showing that, please, viewers' discretion is advised.
Please, I think it was blood a bit. They dug out her corpse, and it was still fresh. And the sister's corpse was also exhumed, but it had decomposed. Her bones were gathered.
Earlier.
Her bones were gathered in a blue plastic. Now, in the video, villagers are heard saying that the mother was a hard-working woman who sold fufu to feed her family. They added that Somadina is a drug addict. Now, the villagers also heard expressing the desire to bury Somadina in the same grave he buried his mother if the police would allow them. He has since been arrested and is in custody of the police.
This is so sad.
It's great.
This is so sad. After a mother has done all she can to raise you to this level, and then you just decided to take to ills, smoking and taking drugs, and you lose your mind. I've always said something like like we used to say in my house, that whatever you do, whatever you take into, ensure you do not lose your mind. Because when you lose your mind, it's a problem. I mean, this boy has brought reproach to his home. He has brought problems to his mother. You killed your mother. I really don't know. This is disturbing. This is disturbing.
Like you said earlier, Nike, I think from what the story we've read, I think he has some mental issues. I think he has some mental health issues.
Of course, with the drugs he's taking.
Yeah.
It's really affecting.
The man looking at the condition his family is at would kill his sister and kill the mother.
So it's not like he wants to use it for
anything.
any plus. You see, and this goes to tell you the negative effects of drug abuse, which people don't know. You lose your mind totally. You are not in control. I remember I had a neighbor then that the father was the chairman landlord association, and the man was so strict, but we don't know, somehow he had like 4 or 5 boys. Then one of them took to drugs, started smoking, I think in their hand then. Suddenly the guy went to the top of the roof. It's the kind of house that has an open roof, you can go up, and then he wanted to jump down. Thank God that they have workers at home who quickly went from behind, held him. The guy landed at a psychiatric home.
To him, that may not be a distance. May just be a
he's just looking at it like, because these are the things that these drugs, do to you. And I think everybody needs to come out and condemn the use of these hard drugs, because the advocacy needs to go beyond what we have right now.
The problem is not to condemn the use or the consumption of this hard drug. The problem is do not let it into the country.
Okay, I think that's the way to go.
I mean, you're in our borders.
Drug trafficking
you're at the airport.
How are they getting?
You're at the borders. You're at the Tinkan, the ports. So secure everywhere. Make sure it does not come in.
What you're saying reminds me of the NDLA officer that we had here, and she said one of their greatest challenge at the Kaba House.
Because it's the business of some people. Multi-billionaires.
Now, what we're talking about also is the stories are kind of interconnected, because it takes
corruption,
frustrated, hungry, poverty, ignorant, jobless young man to take to drugs. The way this young man,
young Nigerian
has that. Because when you are engaged, gainfully engaged, you have responsibilities.
Exactly.
You are working towards the goal. You have a family to take care of. You have all of this.
Now, see, all of it, I understand. But then, if all of these things is in place, you have family to take care of, you're engaged, fully engaged, and this, if you're not well remunerated, you will fall into depression.
No, I get it. I was talking about corruption. If corruption is fixed, then poverty is fixed, and then ignorance is fixed,
if corruption is eradicated,
it cannot be completely eradicated, but it can be minimized.
Okay.
We're not saying you should not eat. Take care of the basic. Nigerians are not so difficult.
I mean, as we stand now, I stand to be corrected, but I feel corruption is like 75% up there. So if you can cut it,
Okay.
just cut it to, let's say, 30%. I think every Nigerian will be fine.
All right.
I was
okay.
reading on the most peaceful nations of the world.
Okay.
To tell you the importance of an enlightened mind. The most peaceful nations of the world. Sorry, I was reading about the most educated nations of the world. And I also found out that they were also the most peaceful nations of the world. So every vulcanizer on the street, every pepper seller had at least a diploma degree.
You know, like I was just like to take you guys back to last week when I was saying, when you said education is a scam, and I insisted that education still is not a scam, because there's a level, there's what education, you know, does to you, which is, you know, it makes you, it gives you freedom, you understand, it takes you off slavery, and you know, gives you liberty, do you understand, and you can critique whatever is being brought to you. Of course, these are drugs we talk about. You see, have very highly educated people taking it, but because they're educated and they know the implication of going overboard,
excessive, yeah.
they tone it down. Do you understand? And they are still themselves. You know, they don't lose it all. Unlike those who really don't know.
You really need to go to Yaba Left and go and see educated people. Go and see
Well, I hope one of these days. I hope one of these days we will take excursion. We'll have an excursion to Yaba Left, as they say it. No, all right, our viewers, our time is really fast spent. Let me also say here that we've been trying to connect our guests this morning for us to look at security tips. Of course, for December as we go into the Yuletide season, but unfortunately the network was bad. But please to know that tomorrow we will really shed light on this, because you need to arm yourself, you need to equip yourself rather on how to protect yourself, because we are very much concerned about your safety, because it is when you are safe you will be there to watch us, and we will be here and be glad that you are safe and alive. So join us tomorrow as we look at security tips for you to use for your own personal protection. Well, this is where we will draw the curtain on U45 morning show, and many thanks for watching. I'm Adenike Woye Ajiboye.
I am Osagi Solomon Wilfred, and don't forget to create your own happiness.
Sure.
Of course, whatever you do, make sure that the poverty mindset is not there. Even if you don't have much in your bank account, just be optimistic, be a good person, be a good ambassador of this great nation. I am Segun Demola Adeyemi.
All right, with that from Segun Demola Adeyemi, let me also say to you that the spirit of optimism should help us, have something good to talk about. Have hope, because there will always be light at the end of the tunnel. Many thanks to the production team. Many thanks to Tayo. Many thanks to Sam. Many thanks to Akin Fagboro. And many thanks to Hamed. These are the production team. Of course, they work behind the camera. I must say that you guys are awesome. Let's do this again tomorrow. And from all of us, do stay safe and goodbye.